Did you know that Dr. Phil has faced several lawsuits? Did you know that he has, in the past, promoted products that were banned by the FDA? Well, if you didn't know that, there's a lot more for you to find out. It turns out the reputation of this highly rated psychology expert isn't as squeaky clean. Listed here are 10 dark secrets behind the Dr. Phil Show. Right before we expose the dirt swept under his carpet, hit that subscribe button, because you're awesome. Lawsuit. Back then in 2003, when no one knew who Dr. Phil was, he promoted weight loss products that were later deemed unsafe by the FDA. The products included shakes, protein supplements, bars, and vitamins that were all meant to help anyone lose weight. When the FDA started investigating the items, the doctor removed them almost instantly from his show. Suspicious, right? He received great criticism and backlash from his audience and people all over the world. A self-proclaimed doctor should never use their position to promote unapproved products for money. Period. Just when he thought it was all over, he received a lawsuit from an unsatisfied customer for charging $120 a month for supplements that wouldn't aid in weight loss. He was forced to settle it in 2005 for a staggering $10.5 million. Serves him right. Reality TV stars, just like TV hosts, are willing to do anything to get ratings. Dr. Phil is the best example of just how far they're ready to go. Allegations using Britney's meltdown to gain publicity. Remember back in 2008 when Britney Spears had a crazy meltdown? Well, Dr. Phil visited her. He claimed he intended to provide the needed support and help. But most people didn't buy this. They believed he was taking advantage of the situation to build his brand. This is not the first time he has been accused of releasing confidential and private information to the public for publicity and ratings. Several people filed complaints about his unethical behavior, and the Board of Psychology was alerted. He was at risk of losing his show. Despite defending his position, many people all over were convinced otherwise. Tabloids, the media, and blogs posted him in the worst light as a malicious man thought to exploit patients for his good. Here's how the interview went down.
I am not turning loose. You can throw a fit, you can be a smooth running bitch.
What do you think? Did he go too far? In the next clip, we'll show you what could be the worst thing Dr. Phil has ever done in his career. You're probably wondering, what could be worse than the Britney saga? Well, there's a lot more dirt to this man. Watch till the end. Insensitive tweets. Dr. Phil is the king of controversy. Over the years, people have gotten to know him as the man behind the most dramatic events in the US. To live up to his name, he once tweeted the most controversial rape question in 2013. If a girl is drunk, is it okay to have with her? Reply yes or no. When I first saw this, I thought, okay, maybe someone has hacked his Twitter account. To my surprise and everyone else's, the tweet was legit. He and his team thought it was appropriate. Within seconds, people went crazy. He was bombarded by politicians, celebrities, and the public in general. He was forced to take down the post, but by then it was too late. People had already read it and taken enough screenshots. Representatives of the show defended him, saying the tweet was meant to spark up a conversation on the issue. In their defense, they claimed a show airing teens accused of assault would be shown soon. His intent may not have been to come out as an insensitive prick, but he sure did fool his followers. From promoting fake products to exploiting patients to posting insensitive content on social media. You'd probably think our list is done. Grab some more popcorn, we've just begun. The stories up next are unbelievable. Unethical involvement in the Polk County fight. This is by far the worst scandal Dr. Phil has been involved with. It breaks every ethical guideline in the book. It doesn't take a doctor to know what's right or wrong. I believe even a 10-year-old would be able to establish what Dr. Phil and his team did was wrong. In 2008, a 16-year-old was savagely beaten by 7 of her classmates. The whole abuse was filmed and posted on YouTube, causing significant public outrage and creating headlines across every news station. The poor girl was beaten so severely, she almost died. The king of drama didn't hesitate to jump in. He dedicated a whole hour to the case, scheduling several interviews for the 7 perpetrators. The plans to air the show came to a stop when it was discovered that one of the show's producers had secured a $30,000 bail for the group's ringleader so that he could be released for an interview. This is disgusting. This man is clearly ready to stoop to the lowest just for ratings. The special was canceled due to outrage and criticism from the public. He should have been sued or even ended up behind bars for such gruesome mistakes. He didn't pay for this, but he sure does in the future when he gets served with more papers. His second lawsuit is up next. One more lawsuit. Everyone knows of the O.J. Simpson case. The debate of whether or not he is guilty can never end. Everyone has their own opinion on the matter. But that's not what we're talking about today. If you followed the OJ story closely, then you must be familiar with Thomas Rico. For those who don't know, he was the popular sports memorabilia dealer who scheduled an appointment in the Las Vegas hotel, which would later result in the arrest and conviction of O.J. Simpson for armed robbery. So how does Dr. Phil come into place? Well, in 2008, he set up an interview with Rico in his studio. The man later sued Phil, claiming that the show was edited in a way that made him look bad. The charges were later dropped by the judge, who said the Constitution's First Amendment protected the editors of the show. The two parties settled with a mutual agreement in 2009. No one knows how much it took. Dr. Phil is known as the king of family drama. Perhaps his name should change to the king of lawsuits. His past is full of them. Up next is one more. More and more lawsuits. Remember the Natalie Holloway story that was featured in every headline? Her case was tragic and broke the hearts of many across America. In 2005, the teenager went missing from a school trip to Aruba. Her story hit international news and her search began. Dr. Phil's show was not left behind. He aired several segments of the case, which included live interviews with the missing girl's parents and family. In the year 2006, Deepak and Satish sued Dr. Phil for an interview that was aired on one of his shows. The two brothers claimed the set was altered to make them look bad and guilty of partaking in criminal activities. The trial was scheduled, but it never happened. The case was dismissed by the judge, who ruled in the show's favor, officially closing the case. All of the above seem like nothing when compared to this next story. The next scene made me lose all respect for the renowned doctor. Watch, and let me know what you think in the comments. Abuse the mentally ill. Just when you thought there was nothing worse Dr. Phil could possibly do, the psychologist is known to place his foot in his mouth on several occasions, often within his set. In 2013, 6 years ago, he made one of the most insensitive comments in history. He said, mentally ill people, quote, suck on rocks and bark at the moon, unquote. Who does that? These people struggle with their own demons, so what gives anyone the right to abuse them? Okay, Dr. Phil always tries to be likable by being silly. He likes to throw a joke here and there to get the audience giggling. But this time, he went too far. As a professional within his industry, let alone in his field of psychology, it is a requirement to at least be sensitive. It is not the first time that he has described his patients with insulting words. He often refers to them as crazy psycho, out of control animal, and so much more. What an example to set! His dirty laundry isn't just within the show, it goes all the way home too. No one knew about his past life, or rather, that he had an ex-wife, until she came into the light and shared some shocking news about Dr. Phil McGraw. Ex-wife displays his dirty laundry. Everyone knows Robin. Not so many people know that Dr. Phil has an ex-wife, Debbie Higgins. The two were high school sweethearts and were together for 4 years before calling it quits on their marriage. This was way back in 1970. Maybe that's why no one really knows of them. Debbie refers to herself as the secret first wife. She had a couple of complaints about their marriage, but one stood out the most. This made Dr. Phil sound like a first-class D-bag. Dr. Phil wanted Debbie to be a stay-at-home wife, to do chores and household tasks, take care of the kids, and look presentable at all times. He also wanted her to do additional chest exercises to firm up her bust. This doesn't sound like the same man who bashes other men who try to control their wives. What a hypocrite. Exploiting people for ratings is how Dr. Phil has managed to make it in his career. Continue watching to see one of the most awkward interviews in TV history. Exploited Dina Lohan. Dina Lohan, Lindsay Lohan's mother, was interviewed by Dr. Phil, making it one of the most awkward sets. Allegedly, she had paid a total of $50,000 to appear on the show. That's not even the worst part. The whole interview was a train wreck.
Is that on? Are we rolling?
That's a normal
You see that
situation.
red light over there? This guy
Got
here?
it.
The doctor didn't hesitate to call the lady names such as phony and authentic, provoking the unstable lady who wasn't even able to make a complete coherent sentence. If an ethical host was in charge, they would have probably called off the whole thing right there from the beginning. But Dr. Phil, who is known for doing anything for ratings,
And I'm going to find out if that's what he said.
continues to press the lady, verbally attacking her to get a reaction. The whole episode is hard to watch. It almost appears as though the helpless lady has been handed over to a bloodthirsty beast, to say the least. Here's the part you've all been waiting for, and it's totally worth the wait. He's not a doctor. The greatest hoax of all time is that Dr. Phil isn't really a doctor. You heard that right. He's not a real doctor. He may hold a doctoral degree in psychology, But he doesn't have the right licenses to practice as a mental health practitioner or as a psychologist in the United States. You're probably wondering how this works. Well, there's a huge difference between an individual who has studied psychology and another who has studied to become a psychologist. Dr. Phil once had a license, which he later retired after starting the show. This way, he is not constricted to being confidential with his clients. One may possess a vast knowledge in the social sciences, but not follow the required guidelines of a licensed and authorized practitioner. Perhaps this explains why Dr. Phil often relays unsympathetic and dramatic reactions to his guests. Thanks for watching till the end. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it so you won't miss the next shocking video. We have a lot in store for you. Stay tuned.